Hi, my name is Colin O'Connor. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at ReliaQuest, and I'm happy to talk to you a little bit about the problem we're solving today in enterprise security operations. So first, let's talk about what a normal customer looks like. ReliaQuest works across what we call enterprise and commercial. Really, we're talking about organizations who have invested in security technologies. They probably have security teams, whether that be one person or 900 people, right? This is generally the problem that we're seeing most of our customers experience today. So first off, most organizations have invested in SIEM technology. They've invested in EDR technology. Now, for big organizations, we're actually seeing sometimes multiple SIEMs, one cloud or one in each cloud and one on-prem. We'll see multiple EDR platforms, especially with what we're seeing in Microsoft. There's the emergence of NDR technologies. We'll see, obviously firewalls. Typically, I'm going to just throw a bucket out here for cloud security platforms because there's a lot of them, and depending on which clouds you're in, definitely will vary. We always have threat intelligence, phishing. Phishing is especially since phishing inbox and obviously regardless of how great the email security platforms are. Phishing and reported phishing is just this massive burden that we're seeing on security operations. And so you've got all of these, right? And generally, there's this idea that SIEM was going to be your central point, it was going to correlate, it was going to count noise. And while I think SIEM technologies are fantastic for a lot of use cases, I think many times what we're seeing now more than ever is that your SIEM is generates probably 50-60% of your overall alert volumes. Problem is each of these tech stacks have started to generate their own alerts. And what ended up happening is our customers' teams, which will be represented as SOC, again, this could be one person in security team, this could be a security operations team of 1,000, is being inundated by not just your SIEM alerts, but they're also being inundated by EDR alerts, NDR alerts, potentially things coming directly from firewall, their cloud applications, threat intelligence, right, and trying to rationalize what you're getting from threat intelligence. This could also be dark web monitoring, and then they're having to deal with phishing alerts. And unfortunately, what we've ended up seeing is, people have looked to MSSPs or MDRs, and the reality is that, most MSSPs or MDR, I like to say, and we like to say, MDR is just an MSSP with one more letter, simply becomes an input or another input that comes into your security operations center. And so what we're really talking about is a SOC that every time an alert happens, they've got to go and try and figure out, okay, my MDR told me I've got a potential, compromised user. Okay, now I got to go to my SIEM. I got to go search through. I got to go to my EDR. Have I seen activity on those endpoints? Have I seen the NDR activity? Have we seen, is this a known thing through our threat intelligence platform? And what we're ended up seeing is that MTTR is taking days to really try and rationalize through. More importantly, for most CISOs, they're talking about burnout. They're talking about the fact that they don't have enough people. They're talking about the fact that this whole process and the whole digitalization we've gone through the last 2 to 3 years, especially with COVID, has created a proliferation of security technologies. And while I think most CISOs are talking about rationalization of platforms, trying to consolidate down, trying to shrink this, trying to centralize it, whatever else, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to go away. You might be able to shrink down a couple of these, but the reality is that it's still creating way too much noise for most of our customers. So ReliaQuest, over the last couple of years, has created a platform that helps. ReliaQuest created our security operations platform that's built on an open XDR architecture called GreyMatter. I'll put GreyMatter into a different color. So GreyMatter built in AWS, as I mentioned, is an open XDR platform. And essentially what it does is it connects to our customers' environments via a bidirectional API. It does this through a unique piece of technology called the Universal Translator, which is going to sit right in here. This is patented. And essentially what it allows for us to do is to communicate in a natural language with SIEM and EDR. So a lot of customers have invested in Splunk, which is a fantastic technology, got a ton of great data in it, but you got to teach your teams how to use and how to query an SPL. GreyMatter if entered in a natural language here, will actually run the SPL query for you. And then as it's returned in SPL, it will actually translate it back into a natural language within GreyMatter. And what we're able to do within GreyMatter is to unify the DIR process. And so what we're talking about is detection, investigation, and response. And why that's so important is historically, detections are happening in silos, which creates investigations in silos, which slows down response. Again, MTTR taking days, inconsistent investigations that are out there, and it leaves most security operators struggling to understand what is my coverage, what's my capability to detect threats, and am I running as efficiently as I'd like to? Where GreyMatter has built in these capabilities. And with our proprietary GreyMatter detection, we will actually push queries into your SIEM and EDR, helping you to be able to detect threats. We map to MITRE. It allows for you very, very cleanly to be able to see where you have visibility and what TTPs you have visibility and which ones you don't. Within investigations, we've built in a ton of automation that allows for an enterprise who's pretty sophisticated to be able to cut through noise. And we do this through three simple they're simple in concept, very difficult to build. Don't tell my product team I told you this. But essentially what we're doing is we're able to very quickly be able to look at any duplicates or reference historical lookups. So we're able to see, have we seen this type of threat before? Have we, if it's a malware related alert, have we seen this on this host? Have we seen, has this been marked as a false positive? Whatever else. Second, we're actually going to be able to query your threat intel as well as open source, so VirusTotal and other sources, X-Force is a good one, as well as our internal proprietary intelligence to say, hey, is this IOC hash IP URL, is this known bad? And if it is known bad, it can make a decision to continue that on. If it's not, it can actually go ahead and disqualify that initially. The third step is going to be enriching that investigation. So we've said, okay, this hasn't happened in the past. This maybe matches on some intelligence, could be bad. GreyMatter is automatically going to go query the relevant sources, multiple sources. So if it's a malware alert, it's going to go back and query your EDR. If it's, it's probably going to query data from your SIEM. It could go query from your NDR, depending on the type of alert. It's also going to go reach into phishing because maybe we're curious as whether or not, we've seen an email as part of that initial exploit that came from the malware. And it's going to put together what we call a research package within GreyMatter. That research package is going to have all the information in it. It's going to have an organized information based on what we call the CAM methodology, or the cyber analysis methodology, which is proprietary investigative process that ReliaQuest built to make sure that each investigation is complete. It is going to organize it all, and it allows for configurable response. So one could go to RQ, right? So it could go to the ReliaQuest security experts. We have SOCs all around the world. Two, it could go to the customer, right? Something like ransomware, a lot of our customers want it to immediately go to them. And then it can allow for these two teams to interact, or it could go to a false positive, right? It just could go to a dead end, put it in the trash can because it's no longer needed to investigate. What's super important about this is the investigative process is less than 20 minutes. And then, based on the type of alert that happened, there are going to be configured response actions that allow for your team to determine, hey, when this happens, we want to automatically isolate a host. Or we want you to serve us an option to go isolate a host, or to go pull more information, or to go block something at a firewall. And then GreyMatter will go push that command back down, right, so that it could take that action in the firewall. Ultimately, what we're hoping to do is to reduce noise for your team. We're helping to speed up your ability to respond, and we're hoping to increase your ability to detect threats and see more of what's going on within the environment. On average, we're seeing a 90% reduction in noise through this process, meaning if you see 100 alerts a day today in your security operations center, you should see 10 after ReliaQuest is implemented. At the same time, we're increasing your threat detection capability by 250%. I'll put these up here just so they're easy to remember. What we're measuring that on is MITRE attack techniques that are covered. Day 1 to day 365, 250% increase in the ability to detect threats. This is going to reduce noise by 90%. And it's going to speed up response by an average at least 52%. So, there are some things when we talk response, we're talking about not just detection, we're talking all the way through the ability to remediate. But on average, we're seeing a 52% reduction in the amount of time it takes because we're cutting so much out of that beginning process, and then your team is spending more time working within the business to go remediate. So that's a little bit about ReliaQuest. This is the problem that we're solving with our proprietary platform called GreyMatter and our incredible security operations experts that are all around the world. If you have more questions, please feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a great day.